Up next on Eco Company. What's a little dirt under the nails? These guys take their gardening seriously.
I just love working out here. It's so much fun. You really get like an appreciation for everyone who grows food.
And on this high school campus, the garden's not the only thing that's green. Plus,
every individual born everywhere, it deserves the right to healthy foods.
Grab your apron, we're headed into the kitchen. And on the menu, farm fresh food for all. And planting the seeds of change.
The seeds are actually 30+% oil, and it can be converted very easily into biofuel.
2 teens bring sustainable farming to southern India, and you won't believe what this plant can do. Then, goggles required.
Here is a batch of vegetable oil that I've just finished reacting.
It's into the lab, where this teen is whipping up her own batch of biodiesel. Eco Company starts now.
Thanks for joining us for Eco Company.
The show that's in search of green teens
and schools
doing cool things for the planet. I'm Adam.
And I'm Jordan. And this campus does not disappoint.
Just check out their new state-of-the-art building.
Jessica and Brendan are already inside.
Hey guys, this place is high-tech.
This keeps track of all the resources used in the building. Let's look at solar electricity. This tells you how much solar power is used throughout the day.
You can also check out a bunch of other cool things, like how many gallons of water are being used. And from the building to the students, this place is what being a green campus is all about. They're farm-fresh veggies right for the picking. Only this garden of greens isn't on a farm or in someone's backyard. It's on a high school campus.
This is awesome because I'm really into environmental science and sustainability.
This is Sacred Heart Preparatory in Menlo Park, California. With its gardens and bioswale, state-of-the-art green building, and high-tech resource monitoring systems, here you'll find lessons in sustainability both inside and outside the classroom. Our first stop, the garden.
The cartoon like this.
These guys are figuring out where food comes from with the help of teacher Stuart Slafter.
So essentially, the class is an attempt to teach young people how they can grow food and know about every step in the process. That is, they plant the seed, they nurture the crop, they harvest the crop, and some of the crop we leave behind, so it grows a seed stock. We collect that seed, and that seed is replanted next year.
Everyone gets a crop of their own to take care of. And for Amanda Wiggins, that crop is turnips.
Planting turnips from just like tiny little seeds and having huge turnips 2 months later, it's really incredible.
Especially to be able to learn out here, being able to grow and see the stuff that we're learning about is awesome.
Tyler Moronier gets the honor of pulling out these sunchokes. It's a winter crop, like all the greens you see here.
I am growing the dwarf blue kale back there, and it's really little, but it's bright green, and it's usually used in salads, and it's really good tasting.
Sarah Russell isn't worried about doing a little hard work.
I just love working out here. It's so much fun. You really get like an appreciation for everyone who grows food. It's a lot of work, but it's really rewarding in the end to see your crops grow so fruitfully.
The garden is organic, which means no chemicals.
Pesticides make it harder for plants to grow, and frankly, they don't taste as good as organic plants.
Instead, they're using nutrient-rich compost made up largely of kitchen food scraps.
This is going to create some new soil for us to work with, as well as getting rid of some of this waste that would otherwise go to a landfill.
You'll find another type of garden here too. It's called a bioswale. It captures rainwater and filters it back into the water table. And that building you see behind it, that's the school's new eco-friendly science and student center.
The whole idea behind building this building was to have a building that also served as a teacher.
It's certified LEED Platinum, the highest rating from the U.S. Green Building Council. Recycled carpet, sustainably harvested flooring, and bamboo benches all help it leave a lighter footprint. Its solar panels and living roof do too.
It makes it warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer. And it also is an area that you can see these solar tubes. These are natural lighting that you can see from down below in our Great Hall.
Chief Operations Officer Sandy Dubinsky says the building uses 60% less energy than conventional ones.
80% of our light comes from natural daylight.
Students can see just how much of all these things the building is using with this simple touchscreen. Upstairs, it's taking center stage in Dr. Libby Jones' class.
So, what's a pound of CO2?
She's using it to talk about issues surrounding energy, water, and other resources.
And then we look at how that resource use affects the earth. So that gets into things like pollution, land degradation, global climate change, all that sort of stuff. And then lastly, we look at how we can hopefully reduce our impacts on the earth. And so that's really my favorite part of the course, where you can really inspire kids.
So inside
That's oranges, yes.
and out, students on this campus are learning what it means to go green and how to become environmental stewards of the future.
I feel like the least we can do is do our part in sort of educating kids, especially hands-on, doing garden work. I mean, just knowing what's going on and seeing everything that we do, it's made a big impact on how I live.
We may not all take the same classes, but one thing we do have in common.
Lunch, my favorite subject.
I thought I heard your stomach growl.
Yeah, I could use some clam chowder.
Well, then you'll be even hungrier after you see this next story.
We're headed into the kitchen for more than just a cooking lesson.
It's Cooking Class 101. Only in this kitchen, it's about more than learning how to dice and slice. These chefs are learning about organic and sustainable food, and why everyone should have access to it.
Recently, I feel like food has just sort of sprung onto like the national consciousness, and that's kind of like the new thing if you're an activist, is like be a food activist, which is great because it's such an important issue.
That issue is food justice. Kitty Bolte and Maya Salcedo are youth activists.
Every individual born everywhere, it deserves the right to healthy food and the access to healthy food. So food justice is kind of putting the access back in the hands of people for food justice. So making sure that everybody can get to healthy food and can afford it.
It's that message that's at the heart of Berkeley, California-based Farm Fresh Choice, the nonprofit program behind this day-long event.
It is Just Us for Food Justice. It is gathering and uniting young leaders doing parallel work, urban agriculture, food systems change, leadership, food justice.
We do a lot of work in our community around food justice and around ensuring food equality in the community.
17-year-old Cad Anthony Smith and program co-manager Gerardo Marine say a big part of it is understanding where food comes from. So that meant a little field trip to the farmer's market.
So I'm curious to know how many people in this group like to cook.
They're visiting the nearby market to meet some of the farmers up close and in person, to learn about how they farm and what it means to grow sustainably.
It's worth the extra money because you're getting food that not only is fresh and free of chemicals and stuff, but it's gonna taste better, and really you're gonna prevent sickness, because she says she's been around long enough and she sees that the food that is sprayed with chemicals, it makes the people that are working in the field sick and the people that are eating it sick.
Not even a rainy day could dampen their message.
We got to meet some farmers, learn about be reminded about how labor intensive the work is, some of their challenges, and how we can partner with them to advocate for them, to help do the education to the community around the real value of supporting a sustainable farmer.
Farmers here say it's important for young people to get involved too.
Because if you guys support it now, then that's the way it's going to be in the future.
The farmer's experience was really cool. We learned about meat processing and stuff like that. We learned that you don't have to do it the industrial way and keep them in small areas. You can have cows graze grass for hours on end and then it'd be healthier for you.
I definitely think that youth from all over are very involved because they don't have any choice but to be. I definitely think that this was just a reminder that the work that we're doing is really affecting people, and that there are more people like me, teenagers out there, who are interested in what's going on in their community and have something to say about it.
And these teens hope you'll have something to say about it too.
Get out there and make change in your community. Listen to what you think needs to be done and go out and try and make it happen.
Now it's time to taste all their hard work. On the menu, homemade pizza, any way you like it. But at the end of the day, these guys are enjoying more than just good and new friendships at these tables. They're also learning a lasting lesson about bringing more sustainable food to everyone's table.
Food is a right, and even if you think that you're getting healthy food, you need to check what you're eating. And if people say, well, that's just the way it is, or that's all we have, you need to question that and take the power of your nutrition and your food into your own hands.
Up next on Eco Company.
One teen's mission to change a community, one plant at a time.
Plus,
this is called the Earth Tub, and it's basically a giant composting machine.
It's one of the biggest composters we've ever seen, and that's not the only way the school is using food scraps. More Eco Company is next.
Everyone can make a difference.
In our homes, our schools, and our neighborhoods.
We met with one teen who's greening up a community halfway across the world.
And doing it by planting the seeds of change. This is South India, a place where fields of green dot the countryside. It's also a place near and dear to ofAdarsha Shivakumar and his sister Apoorva Rangan. They're co-founders of Project Jatropha.
It's an international collaboration dedicated towards alleviating rural poverty and environmental destruction in rural South India that's caused by tobacco farming by promoting the plant Jatropha curcus. It's a biofuel shrub.
These teens from Pleasant Hill, California started the nonprofit in 2007 after visiting the region and seeing the deforestation caused by producing tobacco.
You notice each year that chunks of the edge of the forest just go away. They're just chopped down. And we found out that it's due to tobacco farming, which a lot of the farmers do. I mean, it's these huge fields of tobacco. And we found out that they have to cure the tobacco, so they buy firewood, harvest it illegally from the forest, which is having a really adverse effect on the forest itself. And that releases obviously a ton of emissions into the air. These farmers have to grow tobacco because it's the only crop that's being offered that can make any money. And for them, it's either grow tobacco or starve to death.
Their solution to the problem? The Jatropha plant.
It's a plant that can be turned into an alternative fuel, and we are decided to give them to subsistence farmers in India who grow tobacco, and we're planning on help them move to a more sustainable crop because their tobacco production must be cut by 50% by 2020.
It all comes down to the seeds.
The seeds are actually 30+% oil, which is really high, and it can be converted very easily into a biofuel. The remaining seed, the case, it's easy to convert to a very cheap organic fertilizer that's very good, or you can extract biogas from that and burn that as well. This here is the Project Jatropha team reporting.
They brought their video camera along on their recent visit to Labland Biotechs, one of their partners.
So this is the final biodiesel? The raw biofuel can be run in any stationary thing like a generator, but if you want to use a moving vehicle, you gotta just do a very simple chemical process. And the leftovers of the chemical process, glycerin, can be sold to pharmaceutical companies as well. So every part of the conversion process is actually used here.
So far, they've worked with 54 farmers in the region to plant 13,000 seedlings, either as hedge crops or intercrop with tobacco.
We're slowly phasing out the tobacco.
But it hasn't been all smooth sailing.
Me and my sister were expecting the farmers are gonna easily accept this, we're gonna have no trouble. And boy, were we mistaken. I mean, and rightfully so, I think we learned a lot from it because the farmers were very distrustful of us. Several issues. One, age. In Indian societies, age equals wisdom, and I was 13 and my sister was 12. Not exactly very convincing.
I spent a lot of time with the women, and I helped convince them to grow the plant, and that we are here for the long haul.
And so far, so good.
These seedlings right here, they've all had a decent amount of irrigation, and as you can see, there are definitely fruit there. In fact, some of the fruit are actually ripe. Jatropha, it's economically viable in this case, what it appears to be so far, and at the same time it helps save the environment, so it's a win-win.
They're also issuing a global call to youth, visiting schools where they're encouraging students to get involved too.
What we need is more action right now because we're at a turning point for humanity.
Anyone can do anything to save this planet, even if it's just a small thing, like planting trees or recycling, it's going to make a difference. So everyone should try to do something because it's up to us to save the planet.
And they say the time to act is now.
If the environment dies, we die with it.
It's a message they hope inspires young people everywhere to plant their own seeds of change.
You can do more, you've got to do more, you've got to do whatever it takes.
Still ahead on Eco Company.
This is the vat of vegetable oil that I'm working from. As you can see, it's rather unpleasant looking. It's straight out of a fryer.
Making a cleaner fuel for the planet. This high school student steps into the lab to green up what goes in our gas tanks. More Eco Company is next.
Hey guys, you're watching Eco Company. Well, you've seen how this campus is going green. Let's go check out another high school to see what they're doing. It's a sight you can't miss from the road. A giant A greeting visitors to this school campus. And it's made of solar panels.
It actually powers almost 60% of our power use right now in the whole campus.
This is the Athenian School in Danville, California. It's a place where students and teachers are doing their part to help the planet. From spending time out here, getting their hands dirty, to spending time in here, in the lab producing biofuel, they're making sustainability #1. First up, meet Maggie Rowland, a high school senior who is busy making biofuel. The plan is to use it to fuel up their green buses.
So essentially what I'm doing is taking used vegetable oil that comes from the back of a fast food place and turning it into a fuel that diesel cars, or in this case our diesel tractor and buses, can use.
They've built a biodiesel converter, but first things first, perfecting the formula. She's showing us the process.
This is the vat of vegetable oil that I'm working from. As you can see, it's rather unpleasant looking. It's straight out of a fryer.
Then it's time to mix the chemicals and add them to the veggie oil. Then presto, you've got biodiesel.
So ultimately, this is going to take a little while to mix, but ultimately when it does and I let it settle, it's going to look like this, and the glycerin will be on the bottom, and the biodiesel that can go into an engine will be on the top. I can use the glycerin as soap. I can use the biodiesel, which is what I'm really after, as biodiesel. So I take a waste product that comes from the back of a fast food place and turn it into one of two things that anyone can use.
Speaking of waste products, you've got to see this. It's possibly the largest composter we've ever seen.
This is called the Earth Tub, and it's basically a giant composting machine.
It can hold up to 4,000 pounds of food waste.
You see how it's really hot, it's actually steaming. Last time we checked, it was 145 degrees. And that's because there's tons of microorganisms and bugs in there that are respirating and creating a lot of heat. And that heat actually breaks down the nitrogen and carbon material and turns it into black gold.
Senior Alon Goldbart isn't afraid to get us a closer look.
Then as you see, it breaks down into something more black.
So what do they do with all of it? They use it here, in their garden.
We're gonna plant cover crop.
Today, this crew is planting a cover crop. It helps build nutrients in the soil and get it ready for future planting.
The garden's now in its 5th year of production. Last year we produced over 1,500 pounds of food just in the summertime.
Teacher John Harvey is the school's director of environmental stewardship.
At its core, the school has an environmental philosophy already there. And what we're trying to do with sustainability is make environmentalism something that we don't just do after school or we do as an add-on. We're looking for the school itself to become a more sustainable place.
Goldbart, our brave composter, is one of the regulars out here.
At the bottom layer, the ground cover layer, we have strawberries, and they were we planted these last year, so they're just getting started producing some pretty good strawberries now.
After these teens finish planting the seeds, it's time to put all the irrigation lines in and test the sprinklers to make sure it's all systems go.
Go for it, yeah.
Then, one final group project. More proof these guys don't let anything go to waste. So, from their gardening and composting efforts to coming up with a cleaner fuel, these students are proving teens can be green citizens of the planet.
Our Earth is heating up because there's too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. One simple way to fight climate change is to plant trees. Trees store carbon and release oxygen. They also cool our neighborhood. Start a tree planting campaign at school, in your local park, or along the streets. Planting them is easy. Check out the Arbor Day Foundation to find out more about how to plant and care for trees in your community. Whatever you do, be eco-wise and be a part of the solution.
All right, class, it's time for your assignment.
If you're doing something unique to help save the planet, we want to hear about it.
Upload your video to eco-company.tv.
That's it for us this week.
Thanks for joining us.
Check out our website at eco-company.tv.
We'll see you next time on Eco Company.
But one thing we do have in common,
Lunch, my favorite subject.
I thought I heard your stomach growl.
Yeah, I'm craving some clam chowder. Lunch, my favorite subject.
I thought I heard your stomach growl.
I could use some Thai fusion.
Sounds good.
Lunch, my favorite subject.
I thought I heard your stomach growl.
Yeah, I could use some chicken bake.
Sorry.